Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Just before we start, I want to let the public know anybody's joining us for our online process today that our video is not working and we're having trouble with it and we can't restore it. So we're going to be doing this media strictly through an audio version. So I appreciate everybody's patience and we'll go from there. I'm going to call the regular council meeting to order, that being the meeting of July 6th, 2026, and starting time is 3:30. Does anybody on council have any disclosure of pecuniary interest or conflict of interest at this time? No, seeing none. I'd also welcome everybody who's joining us through the audio process, not the YouTube process today. I'm now going to do the acknowledgement of ancestral lands. We acknowledge that the Township of Warwick is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, as well as the many Indigenous nations in Ontario whose footsteps have marked them for centuries. We also wish to acknowledge that we are situated on Treaty 29 and Treaty 25 territories signed by Chippewa chiefs and offer our respect and gratitude for these lands. Council, I'm going to take us to number 5 on the agenda if I could, and that's the minutes from the June 10th, 2026 regular council meeting. How does council wish to deal with that particular piece of business? Councilor Morris, are you moving that?
I'm moving that.
Thank you very much. Do we have a seconder? Councilor Manning is seconded. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. There was no business arising from those meetings? Madam Deputy Clerk? No? Thank you. Council will take you to number 7, scheduled meetings and events. 7A. That's more or less FYI to everybody, unless somebody has a question. Seeing no question. We also have 7B. It's an FYI as well, unless somebody has a question. Seeing no question. Thank you, Council. Let's go to councilors' comments and commitments. Does anybody have any commitments 8A for today, Council? Anybody that want to add to the list? No, seeing none. Thank you. We're going to go to councilors' items, verbal reports. I'm going to start with the Deputy Mayor today. Deputy Mayor Kellenberg, do you have anything for today?
I have nothing today, thank you.
Deputy Mayor. Councilor Manning, do you have anything for today?
Yeah, I do have one item today I'd like to discuss. And it's one I think that all of us councilors are probably hearing about, and it's something that we kind of expected, but we have an increase of traffic on our back roads in town due to the construction going on from the county. Unfortunately, with that, we're getting an increase of people going through stop signs, an increase of transport trucks, increase of damage to our roads, and just general safety issues. And I've been hearing a lot about them from the community. I've been witnessing them. I live on those back roads myself, so I mean, it's kind of firsthand knowledge. And I just want to kind of bring it to the council, bring it to mayor and to our staff that we need to approach a strategy on this. And I believe through discussions that we do have some things in place, so that's made me happy. But I just want people to know too that we're approaching this and we're taking this serious.
Well, thank you, Councilor Manning, and you and I had a chance to speak today. And what I did last week, once the construction project started and we realized there was going to be the impacts that you talked about earlier, I did call the OPP, and they are offering up some extra enforcement. They are handing out tickets for speeding and for people that are running stop signs. So that is happening. That's being done. I also know that staff has been in contact and working with the county folks as well. And there is a bylaw at the end of this meeting today with some extra teeth in it, if I can put it that way, and some signage that's going to be going up. Before I go to the next councilor, Kyle, do you mind maybe touching on the signage that you've ordered before we put this bylaw in place so we have it ready, please?
Thank you. Yes, we've reached out and ordered regulatory signs. Basically, they show a truck with a line through it red that's standard that says no trucks allowed on this road. We have enough signage to start in Watford and Warwick with all the side roads that lead off county roads to indicate at the entrance that trucks would be prohibited from entering that road or using that road unless they're delivering to or from an address on that road. That would be the only reason to have a truck on the side streets at this point. And the plan is, working with Ray and the guys, is to start putting them up, assuming we get approval tonight, tomorrow, with signage.
Thank you, Kyle. So the local deliveries obviously will still continue. We have places like Watford Root Trust, some of the others that will have to continue to do business. This will be for trucks that are coming outside of the area, and they've already been given instructions to use the county roads and avoid the Watford area, especially right now in the surrounding area. when the construction's on. So that's clarification on that as well. Am I correct?
Yes, and for local vehicles, they're supposed to take the shortest, most direct route to get to a county road to get on, back on truck route.
Thank you for that. Councillor Morris, do you have anything today?
Yeah, I have three items here. I guess the first one kind of highlights on Joe's. The request for sidewalks on Gold Street. I don't recall having a request before. Years and years and years ago we did, but people didn't want it on their lawns. Well, now I'm getting requests for sidewalks because of the extra traffic and because the school is now a public school, not a high school. So I'm wondering if Kyle can look into the cost of a sidewalk on Gold Street and whether it could be done with this year's budget or whether we have to budget it for next year or not. That's a financial thing that I don't know right now. That's the first thing. The other two things are yours too, Kyle. We're missing road signs at the corner of Wiz Beach and Burnham Line. I was out there the other day and the signs are gone. And I got a complaint from Warwick Village. Sand on sidewalks to the mailboxes. The mailboxes are in front of the apartments there. And it looks to me, when I toured it, that it looks like it's just winter sand. But it's a little hard for the disabled or people that have with strollers or something like that. If we get the guys out with a couple shovels and a couple brooms just to clean the sand off the sidewalk, I'd appreciate it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Morris. Councillor Westgate, do you have anything today?
No, I have nothing else that's hasn't been discussed.
All right, and I've made my point as well on the issue with the construction and the traffic and some of the safety issues in our community. So we'll get to that bylaw, and if we want to discuss it more, we at least we'll have the teeth, the extra teeth we need to deal with it. So very good. Thank you very much. I'm going to move on to staff items. There's 9A, and all that is we have a reminder from staff on nominations for Senior of the Year. Maybe if I can ask everybody to maybe try to come up with some names for our next meeting and bring them forward, that would be terrific. So if everybody could do that, that would be great. Thank you very much. We're very close to starting delegations at 3:40. I'm going to whip through. I'm going to go to 11A, the GL report, council. Does anybody have any questions on the GL today? Seeing none. How about the accounts payable today, council? Does anybody have any questions on the accounts payable? Seeing none. Okay, I would entertain a motion to pass both the GL report and the accounts payable with one motion of council. Deputy Mayor Kellenberg is making that motion. Seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is we're going to back up. I'm going to go by this clock. We're about a minute away from our first zoning application. So what we'll do, and the first zoning application we're going to be dealing with today is application number Z0226, Tony Rumbouts. The address is 7188 West Beach Road. I'm going to announce the following. The next item on council's agenda is the holding of the public meeting with respect to Rumbouts' application to amend the zoning bylaw and council's consideration of a bylaw to rezone property described as Concession 5 north of Egremont Road, PT Lot 28 and 29 in the Township of Warwick. I'm now going to ask the clerk the following. The method of giving public notice and the method of giving public notice of the meeting and the date that the notice was given. Deputy Clerk?
So the notice was mailed to neighbors and posted on the property on June 12th.
Thank you very much. I'm now going to state the following. Any person requiring further notice of the passing of the bylaw should give their name, address, and postal code to the clerk before leaving the meeting. Any persons present who wish to make oral or written submissions should provide the clerk with their name and address and postal code. Also, all persons wishing to address the bylaw should address their questions through myself, the chair. I'm now going to proceed. The clerk will now read any written submissions. Deputy Clerk, please.
There were no submissions made for this this application.
Thank you. The planner will now give his report. Mr. Planner, please.
Thank you, your worship, and good afternoon. The application before council is a zoning bylaw amendment for lands municipally known as 7188 Wiz Beach Road. This site, sorry, I'll wait for the slide. Next slide, please. Thank you. This site is located within an agricultural area and fronts onto the east side of Wiz Beach Road. It contains a single detached dwelling, 2 accessory structures, and 4 silos. The property is adjacent to other farm properties that have single detached dwellings and farming businesses, and the property is also adjacent to an aggregate operation. The purpose of the application, as said, is to rezone a portion of the lot located at 718 Wiz Beach Road from the extractive industrial M4 zone to the agricultural 1A1 zone. Part of the property was being used as an aggregate pit, but that operation has been closed and the subject lands have been rehabilitated. The owner intends to farm parts of the rehabilitated lands and the rest will remain as a naturalized pond. Staff have reviewed the application and are recommending approval. In staff's opinion, the amendment is consistent with all the applicable planning documents, specifically policies relating to aggregate pit rehabilitation. Under the township's official plan, which designates the subject lands as resource extraction of mineral resources is an interim land use. Prior to and after extraction, the lands may be used in accordance with the agricultural area policies contained in the township's OP. In this case, complete agricultural rehabilitation was also not required because agricultural rehabilitation in the remaining areas was maximized, and the depth of the extraction also made restoration of pre-extraction agricultural capability unfeasible. Both the county OP and the Township of Warwick official plan understand that in some situations, lands cannot be remediated in full to be used for agricultural purposes. So in this case, the focus lies on creating either environmental improvements or net environmental gains through either the creation of features such as woodlands, wetlands, fish, and wildlife habitat areas or integrated water systems. The proposed zoning amendment also conforms with the policies of the Township of Warwick zoning bylaw, as the A1 zone permits both agricultural uses and conservation uses. Based on staff analysis, staff have concluded that the proposed zoning bylaw amendment can be supported. The owner has provided with the application proof that the existing license held by VB Sand and Gravel Ltd. was amended by the Ministry of Natural Resources on June 18th, 2025, which included the partial surrender of the western portion of the license parts lot 28 and 29, concession 5 NER Geographic Township of Warwick. Staff have also reviewed the Ministry of Natural Resources online portal and confirmed the license has been retired from the subject lands. A site visit by planning staff was conducted to tour the subject lands and confirm that the aggregate pit and the area surrounding it have been rehabilitated, as well as understand where the owner intends to continue using the subject lands for agricultural purposes. The photos which were in the presentation showed the site as it is today. The Oswald Bayfield Conservation Authority has commented and does not oppose the approval of the requested zoning bylaw amendment. For these reasons, staff recommend that council approve zoning bylaw amendment Z02-2026.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Planner. The applicant will now have the opportunity to explain the reason for his application if he wishes to. Must. I'm just gonna get you to come to, sorry about that, I should have explained that. If you could just maybe, Emily, if you could just allow him to sit down, Mr. Rumboats, and
Just hit the.
hit the button, Mr. Rumboats.
Yep. Okay, well, it's been aggregate and I want to get rid of that because there's no need for it. It's done and we're farming it already. So let's go back to agriculture the way it should be. And I've got trees planted around there right now already. And yeah, it's gonna be my retirement spot. So, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Rumboats.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
And my wife too.
We will hear from those in favor of the bylaw first. Is there anybody else who wants to speak in favor of this one? If not, is there anybody who wishes to speak against it? Seeing not, thank you very much. So the public meeting is now concluded. Council has 15 days from the meeting to decide whether or not to pass this bylaw. Council's decision will be mailed to those who have requested a copy. Any person or agency may appeal to the local planning appeal tribunal in respect to the bylaw by filing with the clerk of the Township of Warwick no later than 20 days after the day that the written notice has been given. A notice of appeal must be set out, the objection to the bylaw, and the reasons in support of the objection, plus, of course, the applicable fee. Thank you, everybody, for coming. So what that means, folks, is that council may deal with it today, and they may deal with it at the next meeting, but we definitely will let you know. Unless did council have any comments, or did council want to do anything today at this time? I'll ask the question. Councilor Morris.
I toured the property yesterday and I'm very impressed with the signs and the trees around. And want to congratulate Tony and Joanne for putting it back into agriculture. I make a motion, we accept this.
We have a seconder to the motion. Councilor Manning is seconding that. Any further discussion? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We've got your answer, sir. Thanks for coming. Okay, council, we're going to move on. We're going to go to our second application today. And that application is number Z0426, Olson Farms, 7304 Forest Road. I'm going to announce the following. The next item of council's agenda is the holding of the public meeting with respect to Folsom Farms, application to amend the zoning bylaw, and council's consideration of a bylaw to rezone property described as Concession 6, north of Egremont Road, part of lots 2, 3 in the Township of Warwick. I'm now going to ask the clerk the following. The method of giving public notice of the meeting and the date that notice was given. Deputy Clerk.
Notices were mailed to neighbors and posted on the property on June 12th.
Thank you very much. I'm now going to state the following. Any person requiring further notice of the passing of the bylaw should give their name, address, or postal code to the deputy clerk before leaving the meeting. Any persons present who wish to make an oral or written submission should provide the clerk with their name and address and postal code. Also, all persons wishing to address the bylaw should ask their questions through myself, the chair. I'm now going to proceed. The clerk will now read any written submissions. Madam Clerk, do we have any written submissions today?
There are no written submissions for this application.
Thank you very much. The planner will now give his report. Mr. Planner, please.
Thank you, your worship. The application before council is a zoning bylaw amendment for lands municipally known as 7304 Forest Road. This site, next slide. This site is located along Forest Road within an agricultural area. It contains a single detached dwelling and accessory structure, including a storage shed and solar panel arrays. The property is adjacent to other farm properties that have single detached dwellings and or farm businesses. As said, the purpose of this amendment is to rezone the retained agricultural parcel at 730 Forest Road from agricultural 1A1 to no dwelling agricultural NDA to facilitate a proposed surplus farm dwelling severance. The severed residential lot would remain zoned A1. Staff have reviewed the application and are recommending approval. In staff's opinion, the amendment is consistent with all applicable planning documents. The dwelling is surplus to a consolidated farming operation, and currently the application does comply with minimum distance separation MDS1. The Township of Warwick's OP states the size of any new lot created for a surplus farm dwelling shall not exceed 0.4 hectares, except to the extent necessary to accommodate a well and private sewage system. The proposed severed lot is approximately 0.84 hectares, 2.1 acres, which exceeds this limit. However, planning staff is supportive of this deviation due to pragmatic site considerations. This is in an area where septic systems typically require approximately 2 acres, and the existing cluster of residential and accessory buildings. The proposed amendment would also create a retained farm parcel that is substantially smaller than the 38-hectare minimum required by the county official plan. However, planning staff believe that as the lot is already undersized, the proposed surplus farm dwelling severance would not create any further limitations to the retained lot's potential agricultural uses, other than what is inherent to the proposed no dwelling zoning. No development is proposed within the portion of the subject property zoned environmental protection woodlot, and no changes are being made to zone boundaries or property lines in or near these areas. The presence of the EPWD zone does not affect this application. In terms of MDS setbacks, the applicant did provide us that there are no livestock operations. However, planning staff took a preliminary review And we reviewed that all the possible livestock operations meet the MDS1 setbacks. The only concern we have is the possible horse operation at 7317 Forest Road. Again, this is just a possibility. We estimated that there may be 10 horses on the property, and with that, the MDS setback would be 90 meters, which makes it the closest setback, but it does meet that. We did get some agency comments from the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority. They have no concerns with the proposed application. We asked the MTO for comments, as Forest Road is a provincial highway at this point. They have not given us any comments at the time we submitted the report. In terms of building services, this is more in relation to the future severance, but the property owner has or is going to contact a septic installer. Building services said that the septic system assessment would be required. Planning staff believe that the proposed amendment is appropriate in this specific case. Accordingly, the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, County of Lambton official plan, and Township of Warwick official plan, and does conform to the township zoning bylaw with the inclusion of the site-specific provision recommended by staff. For these reasons, staff recommend that council approve zoning bylaw amendment Z04-2026.
Thank you very much for the report, Mr. Planner. The applicant will now have the opportunity to explain the reason for his application if he wishes to. Sure, we'll get you to come up to the microphone here. If you could state your name and address for the record, that would be appreciated.
My name is Arvinder Magurdich. I am the representative for Full Send Farms, also known as Mr. Stewartson. The purpose for the application is so that he can conduct a surplus farm dwelling severance in order to sell off a portion of his property. And in order to do so, we need to do the rezoning application and I believe a minor variance, as the retained parcel does not meet the minimum acreage.
Thank you very much. We will hear from those in favor of the bylaw first, and then hear people that are present that are opposed. Anybody want to speak to it that's for it today? Does anybody want to speak to it that's perhaps opposed? No? Very good. Thank you. The public meeting is now concluded. Council has 15 days from the meeting to decide whether or not to pass the bylaw. Council's decision will be mailed to those who have requested a copy. Any person or agency may appeal to the local planning appeal tribunal in respect to the bylaw by filing with the clerk of the Township of Warwick no later than 20 days after the date that written notice was given. A notice of appeal must set out the objection to the bylaw and the reasons in support of the objection, plus the applicable fee. Thank you very much for attending. Council, did anybody want to deal with this particular piece of business, or did we want to take a little time on it? Deputy Mayor Kellenberg.
Yeah, my only concern would have been the minimum distance for any future livestock operations, but seeing there's quite a bit of distance between that severance, I'd like to make a motion, we approve it.
A motion on the table from the Deputy Mayor. Do we have a second? Or Councillor Westgate, you're seconding that? Good. Any further discussion amongst council? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Sure. So folks, the deputy clerk has asked me to sign the form and make sure that she has it. Do they have it in front of them, Jessica?
It's just in this corner.
Okay. So
If
maybe,
anybody who's shown up, can sign the form for if you would like to hear the results of
maybe
if
do you
it's
want to
being
go and show
passed.
them? We can take our time here. That's not a problem. Make sure everybody sees what you're asking them to do. I will also let the public know that is tuning in today. We do not have video, as you're seeing. We are doing this meeting just on the audio side today, just so everybody knows. So we're just going to pause for a quick second here as our deputy clerk has some folks sign some documents, and we'll go into the next piece of business for today. You good? Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to our next application, council. It's application number Z0326, Michael and Angela McDermott. It's 6593 Brickyard Line. I'm going to announce the following. The next item on council's agenda is the holding of the public meeting with respect to McDermott's application to amend the zoning bylaw and council's consideration of a bylaw to rezone property described as concession 2 north of Egremont Road, part of lot 6 in the township of Warwick. I'm now going to ask the clerk the following: the method of giving public notice of the meeting and the date that the notice was given. Deputy Clerk, please.
Notices were posted on the property and mailed to neighbors on June 12th.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk. I'm now going to state the following. Any persons requiring further notice of the passing of the bylaw should give their name, address, and postal code to the clerk before leaving the meeting. Any persons present who wish to make oral or written submissions should provide the clerk with their name, address, and postal code. Also, all persons wishing to address the bylaw should ask their questions through myself, the chair. We're now going to proceed. The clerk will now read any written submissions. Madam Deputy Clerk?
We received 2 written submissions for this one. So the first one says, my name is Tom Cook and I live near the address. For almost 10 years, we've had to listen to the constant noise of dirt bikes riding around a homemade track. What started years ago while our children were still young has continued, and now those same kids are young adults. I do not support this rezoning. The ongoing activity has taken away much of the peace and enjoyment we used to have on our own property. We should be able to sit outside, enjoy our front porch, and listen to the birds without the sound of dirt bikes in the background. I also have concerns about the safety of having this type of activity continue and potentially expand. Since we've made the complaint to Warwick Township last fall, things have been noticeably quieter. We've finally been able to sit on our front porch, have a conversation, and enjoy nature again without feeling like we have to go inside because of dirt bikes are racing around the track. I hope council will consider the impact this has had on those of us who live nearby when making its decision. I respectfully ask that you do not approve this rezoning. Sincerely, Tom Cook. There are photos included in this one, which I've passed around to council members. For the second letter, it says, to the members of Warwick Council, my name is Tracy Cook and I live directly across the road, just a short distance from the dirt bike track. I understand wanting to have fun with family and enjoy your own property. I truly don't have an issue with people riding dirt bikes recreationally from time to time. What concerns me is that what started as recreational use now seems to be much more than that. There are often 3 to 6 dirt bikes running at the same time, and over the years, the bikes have become bigger and louder. With the track being so close to the road and neighboring homes, the noise has become very difficult to ignore. I respectfully do not support the application to rezone this property for a motocross track. My concerns are about the long-term impact this type of use could have if it becomes a permitted use on the property. Living in the country, I understand and accept the sounds that come with farming. Tractors, combines, and other farm equipment are a part of rural life, and that is something I knew when I chose to live here. To me, though, a motocross track is much different. The noise is louder, more constant, and isn't a part of normal agricultural activity. I'm also concerned about the amount of dust that can be created, especially during dry weather. It affects being able to sit outside and enjoy my property. Safety is another concern. The track is located quite close to Brickyard Line, and with multiple bikes riding at higher speeds, I worry about the increased activity so close to a public road. Like many homeowners, I've invested a lot into my home. I also worry about what allowing this track through rezoning could mean for the value of my property and for the peaceful rural setting that drew me here in the first place. I also want to share something personal, although I wasn't planning to. In 2019, I was diagnosed with an acoustic neuroma, a benign tumor that affects my hearing and balance. My doctors have advised me to avoid prolonged exposure to loud noise whenever possible because it can make my symptoms worse. While this isn't my main reason for opposing the rezoning, it does mean that the noise from several dirt bikes running at once has a much greater impact on me than it might. I appreciate the council has a difficult decision to make, and I simply ask that you consider how this rezoning could affect those of us who live nearby. I believe that there is a difference between occasional recreational riding and rezoning a property to allow a dedicated motocross track. Thank you for your time. Thank you for taking the time to consider my comments. Sincerely, Tracy Cook.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk. The planner will now give her report. Emily, if you'd be so kind.
Thank you, Your Worship. My name is Emily Tifo, and I'm going to be presenting on behalf of Sammy Ferwardi, who wrote the planning report. The application presented before you is a zoning bylaw amendment for lands municipally known and recognized as 6593 Brickyard Line. The purpose of the application is to recognize an existing private outdoor recreational track on the property through a site-specific zoning exception. The property is zoned agricultural 1A1, which permits accessory uses to a single detached dwelling. While a private recreational track can be considered accessory, the existing track has grown over time to a scale that exceeds what can be reasonably considered accessory under the current zoning bylaw. As a result, the applicant is seeking a site-specific amendment to formally recognize the track. No new use, buildings, or structures are being proposed. The amendment is simply recognizing the existing private recreational use associated with the dwelling. As part of the application, the applicant has proposed several modifications to reduce potential impacts on neighboring properties. This includes a setback of approximately 59 meters back from Brickyard Line, maintaining a minimum side and rear yard setback of approximately 3 meters, and establishing a planting strip along the front property line to provide additional visual screening. In staff's opinion, the amendment is consistent with all applicable planning documents. The proposal maintains a rural and agricultural character of the area, does not introduce any new land use purposes, and recognizes an existing private recreational use while reducing its overall footprint and increasing setbacks from neighboring properties. The proposed site-specific exemption is limited in scope and ensures the track remains for private residential use only, while all other provisions of the agricultural A1 zone continue to apply. For these reasons, staff recommend that council approve the zoning bylaw amendment.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Planner. The applicant will now have the opportunity to explain the reason for his application. Mr. McDermott, if you want to come up here, we'll open a microphone up for you.
Right on.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. My name is Mike McDermott. My wife Angela and I own the property at 6593 Brickyard Line. We've lived there since 2010 and raised our 7 sons there. Yes, they're all ours, 7 boys. We're requesting a site-specific zoning amendment to permit a small-scale, private, non-commercial dirt bike and bicycle trails and track as an accessory use to our family residence. The trails were developed as a recreational amenity for our family to enjoy our own rural property. It's not open to the public. There's no organized events, races, or competitions. There's no commercial activities. There's no exchange of funds. This is private use for our own immediate family. As shown on the site sketch, the trails occupy a limited portion of our approximate 10-acre property located well away from neighboring residences. We've made efforts to minimize potential impacts by limiting use to daytime hours only, avoiding use during strong southerly winds, maintaining the surface to control dust, and proposed additional tree planting along the road frontage. We believe the use is compatible with the surrounding rural and agricultural character of the area and represents a modest accessory recreational activity on a property of sufficient size to accommodate it. We're submitting this application because township staff advised us that a site-specific zoning amendment is the appropriate way to bring the property into compliance with the zoning bylaw. We appreciate the opportunity to work through the proper planning process. We're open to reasonable conditions that council feels appropriate. I do have a letter of support from 6 neighbors. I think that was part of the application, but if you need a copy of that, I have signed 6 neighbors that support this amendment as well that I can provide. If that wasn't part of it, I can provide that to you. Okay, yeah, I have that here if you want it. Yeah, I could, do you want me to read it just so you know what they signed?
Actually, because of the process that we have, you could leave it. That would be
Yep,
great
sure.
because the processor is a cutoff for information
Yep.
for these
Wayne
meetings.
says it is on the online application.
It is on the online
Oh, okay.
application.
It's there.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's, so we
okay.
have it then.
Yeah, so
she won't
So
have it.
if anyone needs it, it's there. So thanks for your time and consideration. I'd be happy to answer any questions or concerns.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Okay, so we'll hear for those in favor of the bylaw first. Is anybody here that wants to speak to the bylaw as well this time? No? Not at this time? Very good. Then we will hear presentations from anyone who's opposed. We've had some letters. Does anybody want to speak that's opposed to the application? Sure, come on up, please. Come on up. It's Tracy Cook. We'll just get the microphone put on for you, Tracy.
I'm Tracy Cook. I live at 6554 Brickyard Line. I do have concerns about moving the dirt bike track 165 feet minimum further back from the road does not solve the noise problem. The source of the noise remains on the property and sound from dirt bikes travels long distances across open rural landscapes. Residents will still be subjected to repeated high decibel engine noise throughout operating hours. The issue is not what can be seen from the road, it's what can be heard from surrounding homes and properties. Relocating the track by only 165 feet minimum is unlikely to create a meaningful reduction in noise for nearby residents. The constant sound of motorcycles accelerating, braking, and circling the track will continue to affect the peaceful rural landscape. And I know I do have some education on acoustic neuromas. I don't know if that's part of something you wanna. Okay, and,
Leave that with us if you wish to.
all right,
That's fine. Okay. Very good.
basically everything else that you did read, Jessica, is everything that I wanted to say, other than what I added to this.
Okay.
I don't know if Tom has anything to say, but.
Mr. Cook, did you want to speak? Come on up. We'll get you to sit up here as well. We could please.
Hi, Tom Cook. I live across from the address in question. I don't think this bylaw should be considered at all because the council that put this in went through this a long time ago, probably to put this bylaw in place to protect the citizens of Warwick Township. And I don't think this is very good bylaw to be passed at all. That dirt bike track keeps getting bigger and louder all the time. And it's not just once a day, it's hourly. So please don't consider this bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Is there anybody else who's opposed, wishes to speak to it? Opposed? Okay, please come up. And Kevin, I know who you are, but I'll get you to state your name and your address if you could, please.
I'm Kevin Emery from 6659 Ellerton Road. I live around the corner from the property that we're talking about. And I'd really like to just agree and reiterate with what Tom and Tracy have both said. And what Tracy brought up in the last point, I had heard nothing about sound, getting rid of the sound or helping to improve the sound issues. Where I am, I don't have to worry about the dust so much as I'm sure that Tom and Tracy do. But the noise when they're going, when the weather is suitable for them to be out there, they are out there. The noise is nonstop. And as the riders get older, I can only assume the bikes are going to get bigger and the noise is going to get greater. And I really, ourselves, we don't sit outside anymore when they're out there riding around because it's just takes away from the enjoyment of the use of our property. And that's really all I've got to say. Agree with everything Tom and them said. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Anybody else who wishes to speak at this time? Sure, you can come back up, Mr. McDermott. Absolutely.
Thanks. So I track the time spent. Again, this is my own kids. We have a big family. So we average 45 minutes a week last summer is how often they were out there. So it was not hours and hours on end. I have that tracked. We were about 45 minutes every week. My kids have summer jobs and people work. We're not out there from morning till night. They might go out there for a little ride around for 30 minutes after supper, and that's about the extent of it. They're not riding all hours of the day. So I appreciate the concerns. We've tried to address those through the location of the track, through the setbacks shown in our site plans. And again, just to reiterate, this is private, family only, and not commercial use in nature at all. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. McDermott. Council, does anybody have any questions? Council, just 1 second. Council have any questions?
Yes, first one is for Trevor. Do we have a noise bylaw in Warwick Township?
Off the top of my head, I really don't know, but I believe we do. I just don't know how it reads.
Pretty sure we did. I guess,
Emily will know.
okay. Emily, sorry.
Through you, your worship, we do have to fall under the OFA regulations and legislation as well for the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, because it is an agriculture official plan designation and an A1 zone. It would fall within the Right to Farm and Farming and Food Production Protection Act, which does permit odor, noise, dust, light, vibration, smoke, or flies considered permissible and normal practice for agricultural properties.
Go ahead, Councilor Morris.
Well, I don't consider this normal agricultural practices. I guess the other thing, I toured the property yesterday. I have a question for the planner. Since this is gonna stay A1, how do they have to address the weeds? Because there's a large deal of weeds right now.
Truthfully, I cannot speak to that for in regards to weeds and normal property regulations in regards to the Township of Warwick.
My concern is that we have no authority over A1 condition and weeds. We've had this problem a lot of times with the guys that are into organics. So my concern is the weed buildup. The second is the noise. I know I live about 1.5 miles from the hunt club. And when they start shooting and I'm 1.5 miles away, I hear it. Now, they're very good. They don't start till 9 o'clock in the morning and they're done at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. When I toured the site, the neighbors that agreed to it are quite a distance away. Tom and Tracy are right across the road. I can understand their point of view. What I would request is if this bylaw goes through, that we put a restriction on it of times from 9 AM to 9 PM.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Morris. I don't know if the planner wants to address that or not. It's totally up to you, Madam Planner.
Sorry, through you, your worship, I don't believe we're actually allowed to put conditions on zoning bylaw amendments.
Thank you very much. Anybody else on council have a question before I go back to the gallery again? Councilor Manning?
I mean, kind of answered it right there if we can't put conditions on it, but I have a few questions on what conditions might already exist then. Mitigation for dust control. I mean, if we're looking at this as an agricultural, we're using agricultural purposes. Like if we have construction zones working, even on agricultural land, they have to be responsible for the mitigation of dust control. Looking at the pictures that were sent to us, it looks like dust control is an issue. I know Mr. McDermott had mentioned he did that, so I would like to see some kind of report from them on what they're actually doing, because looking at the dust, it's not being done properly or something's being missed here. I know we can't put restrictions on them, but I'd like to see a plan in place. I also think that row of trees is kind of useless for a couple of reasons. It doesn't cover the view, won't help in any of the sound. If this is the cook's house up here, it's wide open right to that track. I think having it at the road, I think if they're gonna put a setback, they need to pull that tree line right back up to the tracks as opposed to the road, because they're basically just leaving a wide open gap to have that open. I think the trees also need to, I'm looking at the map, I don't know if that's the north end, but on our map, it looks like it's the north. Need to go down the north side too to help. It'll mitigate the dust, the noise and the visuals. Is that the west? Okay, just looking the way the map's oriented, I'm looking at here. The other thing too is the trees being put in. I mean, it's nice to say we're gonna plant trees, but if they're gonna be, 3-foot oak trees, they're not gonna do any good for a lot of years. So either they need to be mature trees spaded in, or they need to be fast growing trees to take care of the issue very quickly. I think there's a couple things that, again, if we can't put those conditions on it, but I'd like to see a little bit more planning to mitigate this if this passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Manning. Anybody else on council have a question before I go back to the folks in the gallery? Seeing none? Okay, Kevin, if you want to come back up, and then I'll get back to you, Tracy, right after, okay?
Just with respect to the amount of sound that has been generated, if I'd known last year or any of the years before that we'd be coming to this kind of a situation, I'd have been keeping some logs myself, but I have a great deal of difficulty believing that it's that low of a usage that we've heard, and having time limits on it. The times from 9 to 9 is exactly the times that we'd be sitting outside trying to enjoy our property. The other question I'd ask is what kind of sound deadening do trees actually do? Do you have any idea in the amount that it would help, or would permanent berms not be a better solution? I don't know. But as far as the amount of times the usage that this track has seen in the past, I really have a hard time agreeing with Mr. McDermott's tallies.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Cook, if you'd like to come up.
Actually,
I just need you to come back up if you don't mind. Sorry, Tracy. So everybody can hear you. We have some people maybe listening in.
it says to as.
Don't know if I can play it for you, but this is us sitting on our porch. So are you okay with that?
I don't know how.
I was trying to play your video and I couldn't get it to load on here. That's the only reason it wasn't presented.
Okay. I don't know if you can hear that. It's just before 6 o'clock. It may not be very. It's just, yeah. So basically that puts us in the house automatically, and we've been dealing with this for honestly almost 10 years. So, but it's been getting progressively worse. So it worries me to have a bylaw like this passed, and what will that entail? Like, how big will these hills be that they're jumping? You know, like there may be no limit if this gets passed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is good. Mr. McDermott, did you want to speak to that? Yes, please come back up.
Thanks for the opportunity. So a couple things just to address Councillor Morris. So the weeds have grown because we haven't ridden, so the boys are not riding. Normally, just out of respect for this process, I've told them to park the bikes since we started this process in the fall. So the weeds have grown because normally the bikes keep the weeds down as well. We're also restricting this. We're not in the neighbors' fields. We're not on the road. We're on our own private property. In the video there, I could hear the crickets as well. I mean, I think I would say that should be inadmissible. You can take a video from any position and hear different things. I could hear the crickets there, but from what I've been told, we need to narrow the focus here. From the previous planner I was working with told me this is not about noise at all. There's actually nothing. If we flatten that track, we can still ride dirt bikes all we want. There's nothing that can be done about the noise. We're not violating any bylaws or noise issues. We're A1. I have videos that I could take of combines and tractors and chainsaws and weed whackers that are louder. And I have measurements on the decibels that are louder than what we're doing. So the issue is not the noise, and there's actually nothing that anyone can do about the noise. The issue is the so-called track, which I would argue is trails. It's not a track. We're not hosting anything commercial. So I think that that's the issue. The noise, it's part of country living. If you drive around the countryside, you're gonna hear dirt bikes and chainsaws and farm equipment. That's just the nature of where we live. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDermott. Anybody else wish to speak? Council, anything else? Councilor Manning?
Mr. McDermott kind of raised that issue too, and it's actually gonna be my next question before both of those comments, that by putting in this, if we were not to put this in, what are the laws now? What's permissible? Is he still, like, we don't have ATV laws for the countryside, the rural countryside as it is, so a lot, like, I guess the reasoning of this is that it is tracked. It has hills being built on it. But the allowability of just driving dirt bikes around that property, there's nothing we can do to stop that, right? Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'll just ask the planner to speak to that, if you would be so kind.
Through you, your worship, yes, correct. We can't mandate use of like an ATV or a dirt bike on an individual property that is considered like a private and recreational use. That being said, in regards to the size of the track, I know with previous correspondence, the reason they did go this route was to ensure that there would be appropriate setbacks and measures taken in place to ensure that there would be consideration for concerns. So that was why they went to the site specific zoning bylaw amendment instead. Yeah, so that being said, that's why they decided to pursue this route.
Thank you very much, Madam Planner. I'm just, if I could, Counselor, I do realize that Corinne Notta's hands up and she's in charge of planning. So Corinne, can you hear me?
Yes,
Corinne?
I can. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Corinne? Okay, let's just check our volume here. Again, just to let the public know we've got an issue with our system today. Corinne, can you hear me?
I can hear
I'm gonna
you.
go to Counselor Manning for his comment or question. Counselor Manning?
So I know you said we can't put restrictions on this, but I'm just kind of curious, is there any way that we could leverage by having this zone? Well, first off, is there any way that the property owner will be able to expand? I know that seems to be a concern too, is that they could expand it into bigger dirt tracks and all that. Can we limit that expansion? And I'd also like to see, maybe we could possibly use this, if we can't stop them from driving dirt bikes, maybe we can use the zoning that is there to limit and mitigate what is there and kind of use that leverage to make sure that things are put into place. That's what I don't know what we have open to us, but if there's anything there.
So we've got just 1 second, if we could. Is Corinne gonna try to speak to this? So we do have Corinne. We couldn't connect with Corinne. Corinne, did you wish to make a comment? We'll put you on the mic here, if you'd be so kind.
Sure. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay. So I will ask Emily if she can help me through this a little bit. Wondering about a site plan agreement, Emily. Would this be an option for this specific zoning that council could undertake to deal with weeds, noise, hours of operation, and the overall just operations with regards to the personal dirt bike track? Is this something that council could explore?
Please.
Through you, your worship. Yes, correct. We could do a site plan agreement for this location that would look at addressing noise mitigation, dust suppression, and hours of operation.
Great. Anything else, Corinne?
No, that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much for your comments, Corinne. Anybody else on council have a question, comment? Councilor Morris?
Yes, I guess Emily's comment there about the agricultural sounds and normal, I would not consider this normal agricultural practices. So I don't think we can compare it to the combine or the sprayer or the field cultivator working in the fields. This is above and beyond that. And the decibel need to be looked at. I don't know what our noise bylaw is, but I think if we do not have one, we definitely need to investigate one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Morris. Anybody else? Thank you very much. Yeah, Mr. Cook, do you want to come back up, please?
It's just recreational, but there's probably at least 10, 15 dump truck loads of dirt there waiting to move to make more hills. And there was 5 to 6 come just a few weeks ago, even when they were shut down. So they've got plans to do a lot more there than just recreational. And if it is recreational, that's driving around your house with your mini bike, not dirt bike hills and track. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Anybody else like to speak? Mr. McDermott, please come up.
So the dirt actually came from the township. So I get calls when you guys are doing culvert work or site excavation, I get calls and they ask, hey, do you got a place to dump dirt? And I said, sure, because it's just flat land around here. And I thought if we ever did build a berm to try and help with noise or whatever, then we have dirt for that. So that's where most of that dirt was free fill that came from different jobs that are going on around the township. I think, did I address all your concerns, Counselor? Yeah, good. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Counselor Manning,
So with the site plan in mind, the possibility of putting a site plan in place, would we be able to limit further hillside or even limit hill sizes and things like that to make sure that this doesn't, like Mr. McDermott's claiming these are gonna be berms and also possible looking at berms, but can we make sure that there is down the road that we're not going to have great big hills and jump tracks and all that as well?
Madam Planner, we'll put you on the spot.
Through you, your worship, yes, you would be able to put conditions on a site plan.
Thank you, Madam Planner. Do we have Trevor? Trevor, please.
Our noise bylaw is number 5 of 2018. It limits time already, but the time limitations do not fall within this. I think anything goes on, you're gonna get more specific based on the site plan application, which I think is a great alternative. And the idea is to try to make a way that it works. We also have a lot of dirt coming down the next few weeks whereby if you're gonna build a berm, now's the time you're gonna have the resources to perhaps offer it up to. Maybe offer that as a means to do it, because I do think a berm would offer more noise abatement than basically sapling trees at this point in time. Just options.
Counselor Morris.
What is our time now for noise restriction, Trevor?
Midnight to 7 AM.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else wish to make a comment before we move on? Okay, I'm going to move in on the process here. The public meeting is now concluded. Council has 15 days from this meeting to decide whether or not to pass this bylaw. Council's decision will be mailed to those who have required a copy. Any person or agency may appeal to the local planning appeal tribunal in respect to the bylaw by filing with the clerk of the Township of Warwick no later than 20 days after the day that the written notice was given. A notice of appeal must set out the objection to the bylaw and the reason in support of the objection, plus the applicable fee. Thank you for everybody for coming. So, council, this is when I always ask council what their plan is. Seems like there might be some stuff that needs to be investigated on this one. I thought about it a little bit more. That's my thought, but I'm opening it up to council to see where we are. Is that where we are? We're going to do a little more investigation on this particular one, or does somebody have another idea? Councilor
Well,
Morris.
I cannot support the zoning bylaw the way it stands. If we put in the conditions that we've talked about a little bit from Emily, I can relook at it. But as of today, the way the application is, I cannot support it.
Anybody else on council have any comments? Everybody agrees that some more investigation is needed? Okay, so we will take some time, folks, and but we will let you know where we are on this particular item. But we'll be working with the planning staff and taking a look at the overall big picture of this. And we will be back to the public on it. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Does council want to take a 5-minute? Let's take a 5-minute break. Okay, council, we're back from a 5-minute break and we're going to go back to the agenda. We're on number 12, the consent agenda. And I'm going to ask council's feelings on a variety of things here. Did anybody have anything on the non-action correspondence today, 12A, that they wanted to bring up? Seeing none, thank you. We have the Parks and Recreation minutes. Anybody have any questions on those? Is that something that the chair, Councilor Morris, is there anything there you'd like to highlight?
Did declare a conflict of interest on this, was the rotary sign at the Sunken Gardens. Needs some improvement. The plan wasn't very good. It was presented, so Ryan was gonna talk to Rick Hollingsworth to get, okay, what do you really want to do? But I said at the Rotary meeting, council had to approve it because it was council's property. And I don't know, did you get anything back from Rick?
Yes, thank you. So I did meet on site with both George and Rick with the Rotary to try and get a better feel for what exactly they're looking at, the project that you've mentioned there, Councilor Morris. I feel I have a better idea. We bounced some good thoughts on what we could do to advance that project that would work both for the township and for the Rotary, as well as taking into account the Watford Warwick Horticulture Society, who do a bunch of that work in that park as well. Rick's gonna put some more stuff together along with George and get back to us with a better sort of account and detail and some conceptual drawings on what that project might look like moving forward. I'll be sure to keep council up to speed on that as well as discuss it through the Parks and Recreation Committee.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have any questions? While we're here, I just want to make a comment. Ryan has provided us with some information on the playground equipment and the timing of that being put up. Maybe Ryan, if you wouldn't mind, just to put this on the out to the public on that particular project. There was a delay. Maybe you could explain the delay and explain that it's going to be moving forward, if you'd be so kind.
Yes, thank you. So contractors are set to begin working on the project tomorrow, being Tuesday. They were on site today, taking some measurements, doing the layout. As I'm sure we all know, the equipment is on site, just waiting for the contractor to get in to start that next step, next phase of the project. The old equipment has been removed. But yes, through our Park and Play contractor, they do have a new subcontractor coming in to help advance this project moving forward. And as mentioned, work and will begin this week, and they will be on site moving some dirt around and getting some equipment in the ground.
Right, just maybe one other note, the Optimus Club did actually take some of the old equipment. They're going to be moving it down to the townhouse complex and it will be utilized again. Am I correct on that, Ryan?
Yes, that is correct.
That's great. That's great when that equipment can be recycled, if I can put it that way, and move forward. Very good. Anybody else have any questions on Park and Rec? No, very good. We'll go to C, and this is the Emergent Capital ELCC blower motor that had to be replaced. Anybody have any questions on that particular item? Okay, very good. And then we got the asset management plan progress report. Anybody have any questions on that for Trevor? That being D. Trevor, is there anything you want to touch on that?
Nothing I really want to touch. It's just our annual update. The next iteration, we're gonna have to address more natural assets that we have missed, and we are probably gonna have to start engaging in that as soon as next year. So as we learn more about it, we will incorporate it and give more content to satisfy.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. And then we have E, the Parks and Recreation dashboard. Any questions on the Park and Recreation dashboard? I find these dashboards to be very helpful. Have an understanding of what's going on in the different departments. Any questions? Ryan, I'll put you on the spot. Anything you want to touch on?
Thank you. Nothing necessarily to add. I did want to bring up the Centennial Park project, the playground project, where we're moving forward with that, which we just discussed. I think I'd probably just highlight as well that we continue to work with the group from Melvinston on activities and arranging the London Knights exhibition game here coming up in the end of August.
We've met a few times with those organizers as well as other groups within the township as well, just to ensure we're providing them with the support they need to put on a great event end of August.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Let's move on to F if we could, folks. 12F, and that's the Public Works dashboard. Does anybody have any questions on the public? Yes, Councillor Morse.
Kyle, I don't see the return chipping of First Cove Road on there. Is it gonna wait till Churchill's done, or it was on the budget, was it not? It didn't make the budget? Oh, I apologize then.
It was proposed, but it was deferred. It didn't pass the capital budget this year.
Okay. Any other questions for Kyle? Kyle's been a busy guy with all this construction projects and everything going on. Very good. Council, in that case, I would entertain a motion to receive and file A to F if council saw fit. Councillor Manning is making that motion, seconded by Councillor Morse. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, let's go to number 13 if we can, council, and that's reports and items requiring a motion. We have our action correspondence. What I'll do is I will read that out as we go here. So action correspondence, the first one we have is 07-X1 Forest Agricultural Society, and that's the Forest Fair sponsorship. I believe this is something we do year after year. Am I correct on that, Trevor?
I believe we do, to a nominal amount.
Yes.
It's through a sponsorship in a program that gets published. That's how it's done.
Okay, they haven't asked us for a specific amount, have they? They've got some different, I guess, suggestions.
They've tiered it this time based upon how we want to do it. So we're looking for direction.
Regularly give them, I think it's $250 or something like that. I'm not exactly 100% on that. And this is asking for a little bit more over and above, I guess, from the normal donation, if I'm correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we can look at what we have done in the past and come back with that also, if that's the direction, or we can, whatever we've done in the past, adhere to that and forego the cross-pollination for it.
Anybody have any opinion on this particular one? Deputy Mayor?
Just like to see where we done in the past and go from there.
Very good. Thank you very much. We'll go to the second one, 07-X2, the Tanner Reddick Foundation, and this is another sponsorship ask. I don't know if we sponsored this event in the past. It is in the neighboring municipality. I don't think so. Am I correct?
No, we have not sponsored this in the past.
Okay, so it's a new ask. Seeing if anybody's, yes, Councillor Morris?
The only thing I worry about and stuff like this is we don't do the Mike Harvey one or anything else. I think we're opening a can of worms if we do.
Okay, seeing that nobody's made a motion, I'm going to move on. 07, excuse me, -X3, Burke Alvinston Council appointment to Court of Revision. I don't know if they were actually asking us to have a representative or not. They've posted it, but it's kind of vague, but we should have somebody there. Does anybody that would like to go? Okay, Councillor Morris, you'll represent us? Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Morris. Very good. And then we have 07-X4, Dr. Raj Kamasha, and it's the National Dental Care Day. We do proclamations here. That's something we have never done before. So I don't know how council, I'm not seeing anybody reacting. It's not something we do. It's part of our process here. And then we have 07-X5 from the Watford Legion. It's the 100th year anniversary coming up, and this is an FY to everybody. I know that Mrs. Westgate's talked to a lot of folks on council as well. So it's an invitation to come and join in. I'm going to be there, so the more the merrier. And then we have 07-X6, and this Waste Management Canada Corporation notice of submission of the environmental assessment. So they issued that about, I'm going to say, a week or so ago. And of course, we have our people working on that. So that's an information piece for everybody. I know everybody here knows that, but it's there and the public knows that as well. Hopefully people will take the time to make their comments. And then we have 07-X7, is another FYI invite that the county councillor luncheon is going to be hosted by St. Clair Township. The date's there. If anybody'd like to go, maybe just let Jessica know and we can make them aware that you're coming. Okay. So that's it for that. I would ask for a motion to receive and file the action correspondence, if I could, please. All in favor? Oh, pardon me, I'll motion John and seconded by Joe. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, council, we're going to go to 13B if we could, please. And that's 2027 Churchill, and this is the engineering. There's a recommendation here that Warwick Township Council approve funding advanced engineering services up to $16,000 for phase 2 of Churchill Line Rehabilitation Project for 2026. How does council wish to deal with this recommendation? Councillor Morris.
I move the recommendation.
Councillor, do we have a seconder? Councillor Westgate is seconding that. And a question? Yes, councillor. Mr. Chisholm?
So this is to appoint Black Creek Engineering to do from Nauvoo to Our Corner Road in 2027 to do all the preliminary work, the drawings. Yes, talking to the Public Works manager there, they believe it has some base issues as well in some sections, so they'd like to get it rehabilitated ahead. Similar to our segment between Kings Court and Forest Road, they have similar issues on that segment.
Directed was from Nauvoo to Arcona Road?
Yes, it would be.
What about Nauvoo to Kingsford?
We would be proceeding we're proposing to proceed with Nauvoo to Arcona Road for phase 2, 2027. And then phase 3 would be from Kings Court to, I actually don't know off the top of my head, but split the distance to Nauvoo, and then from, I want to say it's first school to Nauvoo would be year 4, and then Arcona to Sexton would be the 5th year.
Okay.
We're just moving this segment ahead due to their concerns with the base.
And Brooke is on side with this?
They've already approved the funding on their side already at a prior council meeting. This is just for our piece to match it. Yeah, this funding is completely separate from the work that's ongoing right now from Kings Court to Forest Road. That's happening, and all seasons has started. We have Spreed on site daily. They give us daily updates how far east they're going. This is just to get all the prep work done, so when the 2027 budget comes, we have actuals to vote against.
Okay, anybody else have any questions on this one? We do have a mover and a seconder. I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Anybody have any new business today? Seeing none? Yes, yes.
I don't know if this is for Kyle or for Trevor. Do we have an agreement with Lambton Shores like we do for Brook, for an example, Hickory Creek? Or is that all ours?
Off the top of your head, because I don't.
Mr. Chisholm.
Off the top of my head, I believe we are responsible for Hickory Creek because we've done ditching work on both sides. And it's not truly the boundary road, and we do the winter maintenance for it as well. So I don't think we share any cost with Forest.
We have no agreement with them like we did with Brook.
Not for this one, because I believe both sides of Hickory, north and south, we have the properties up to the Forest Road.
The agreement was made.
Okay, well, we can maybe do a little bit of just check on that if we could, please, staff. That would be great. Thank you. Okay, anybody have anything else under new business? No, seeing that? Okay, so that's going to end the open session today. I'm going to ask for a motion to go in camera, a motion to move in camera into an in-camera meeting of council pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 is amended for the following reasons: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10 of the act. Mover. Councillor Manning is moving, seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you.